Mark Pocan. And Congressman Pocan, welcome back to the program. Glad to have you with us.
Thanks, Tom. Glad to be here.
You know, it's there's a joke for the day. The Mu variant is on its way. That's the bad news. The good news is maybe ivermectin will treat it. Or drum roll. Sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, earlier in the week, I had reported that ivermectin makes men sterile. It turns out that that study is nonsense. But let's not anybody take any ivermectin. It's just not, you know, unless you have parasites. Anyhow, what's at the top of your list for the day?
You know, those are things I never thought I'd have to say a few months ago, right? Warn people not to take animal medicine. But, you know, the big thing really is just keeping people very aware that the next 2 to maybe 3 weeks, maybe some of the most significant time in this Congress, and for that matter, for Congress for several decades, in getting the Build Back Better plan done, getting it done right, and getting the infrastructure bill done. The important part is the Build Back Better plan. Right now, Republicans are not expected to be helping this get done, but this is a bill that will lower cost for the average American. Everything from prescription drug prices to paid leave, universal child care, universal community college, expanding Medicare. There's a lot of things that are going to save people, real people, money every single day. There's also a tax cut by extending the child tax credit, the tax cut. Most people will see who have children will get a essential tax cut from that. We also are creating millions of jobs, many that focus on climate change, and it's paid for by the wealthiest and big corporations that either pay no taxes or hide their money overseas. This truly is a game changer of a bill. Just the child tax cut part alone will lift half of the children in this country out of poverty. So we're going to need people to be very active on their phones, to be pressuring their members of Congress to do the right thing. The special interests are cranking up for everything from advertising to lobbyists knocking on doors. We need to crank it up as a citizenry. If you think that lowering your costs as an American, finally focusing on the average person, like this bill does, the Build Back Better bill in particular, we've got to really make sure that we're holding our members accountable. And some of even the Democrats who are, you know, listening a little too closely to the special interests, we got to put the pressure on them, and we got to put it on them hard. They need to get your calls. Yeah,
absolutely. And the telephone number for Congress, for the switchboard for Congress, is 202-224-3121. And then if you're not sure who represents you, just give them your zip code. They'll connect you. In the House, if you're not sure who your senators are, tell them what state you live in, and they'll connect you as well. And spot on.
If I can, Tom.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. One thing, too, that's real important. I've had some people, including some Democrats, say, well, they're just trying to compromise. You have to compromise to get something done. This bill started at $6 trillion. That's what Joe Biden wanted. Thanks to Bernie Sanders and others who helped negotiate this, we're at $3.5 trillion. So it's already just a little over half of what Joe Biden wanted. To go any more to make Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema happy when they've already watered down an infrastructure bill would be a really awful idea, because you're not going to have universal child care if you have to water this bill down anymore. You won't have universal community college if you have to water this bill down anymore. So it's real important that people understand this is a compromise, and Bernie Sanders did, I think, an amazing job in working on this compromise. Progressives have his back in the House on this compromise, but this is already a compromise, and to go any more isn't a compromise. It'd be really gutting the bill. Yeah, and let's remind people that this is $3.5 trillion over 10 years. That's $350 billion a year. That's like, you know, what we used to spend in Iraq and Afghanistan, what we're still spending in Iraq, but what we used to spend on those two wars in just a couple of months every year. So, I mean, it's just like this is really not something to get your hair on fire about, unless you're a Republican, of course.